Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Carleton's March open house session. We are absolutely thrilled that you took the time and energy this morning to come and join us. We are so happy that you're here. My name is Jaleel Alab, and I'm a recruitment coordinator here at Carleton University. We are located here in Ottawa, Ontario, on the traditional unceded territories of the Algonquin Nation, here in the nation's capital. And in today's session, we will be focusing on film studies with Dr. Aubrey Annabelle and Lily Inskipshus-Nicky, our student ambassador. So without further ado, Professor, feel free to take it away.
Okay, thank you, Jaleel, and welcome everyone. I gather you are here to learn about film studies and the film studies program. So as Jaleel said, I am Aubrey Annabelle. I'm a professor in the film studies program, and with me is Lily, who is a student, a fourth year BA honors major in film studies. I will be tossing it over to Lily in a little bit to tell you kind of sort of her take on film studies and what drew her to the program. But before that, I just want to tell you a bit about what the film studies program is all about and, a bit about what makes us special, I guess. So that is going to require me sharing my screen. So bear with me for a moment. Okay, hopefully you are able now to see my slides. I apologize, we were trying to get it to go full screen. I think you're just gonna have to see it sort of in this view. I'm gonna minimize the preview of what's coming up. This is the only way we got it to work. So, film studies. Why study film at Carleton? I imagine that you are here because you love movies. That's pretty much the main reason that people come to study film at university. And that's what draws most of the faculty to what we do. We all started somewhere with a love of movies, being really into all sorts of movies and wanting to know more about how they work, right? How they make meaning and how they move us. So that's the main reason you love movies and want to learn more about them. But what makes film studies at Carleton unique is that, well, we're located in Ottawa. So we're located in the capital. We have a strong international focus at Carleton in film studies. So it's not just, your typical Hollywood movies that we study, but we study the cinema of the world, right? So we have a global focus. We have experts in our program who study in detail the cinemas of Asia, East Asia, South Asia, the cinemas of Africa, the cinemas of Scandinavia, including also the cinemas of Europe, North America, the US, Canada, Mexico, and Latin America. So we really have a global scope and focus of our program, and that sets us apart, I would say, from other film studies programs in Canada. We're also one of the oldest film studies programs in Canada, so we've been doing this for a while. The program has been around for over 40 years, so we have a solid reputation in Canada and in the world, and we attract experts in the field. So the BA honors, as I say here, is a pretty solid foundation for all sorts of careers. And I'll be talking about that a few slides down, kind of what kinds of careers a film studies degree sets you up for. As I said, our faculty are experts in our fields. We're a tight-knit community. It's a fairly small department, but we have a solid group of 9 core faculty members. And because we have, a relatively small group of students that we're working with, you really get to know us and we get to know each other. And the class sizes are pretty small by Carleton standards. So by the 3rd year in the program, you're going to be in seminar style classes. So in the 3rd year, that's 20 to 30 students. And by the 4th year, that can be a class of 10 to 20 students that you are in-class classes with the professors. So you get to know each other and you get to know us pretty well. We offer opportunities to work on research projects with us, with the faculty. And there are lots of programs at Carleton that assist students and actually give you money to pitch your own research project and have a faculty supervisor that is an expert in that project that you can work alongside with and develop original research. You can attend and work at international film festivals. Like I said, we're in Ottawa, as you know, so there are lots of international film festivals that happen in this city. And that's one of the unique things about the program, is that we have a really strong relationship with those festivals. Many of our former students actually started those festivals, or if they didn't start those festivals, they are now the directors of those festivals and are working for those festivals. So that is a really dynamic part of the program. And just generally participating in Ottawa's film scene, right? So the other reason, right, that a lot of people want to pursue a degree in film studies is because you want to work in the industry. Maybe you want to be a filmmaker, maybe you want to work in some other aspect of production and related to film. The program is not focused on film production. We really are focused on analytically studying the history and theory of film, how films make meaning, what makes film an art form, things like that. But it's a solid preparation to move into actual filmmaking and the more practical sides of the industry. So we can talk more about that in the Q&A as well, if you're wondering. Okay, the degrees we offer. As I said, the BA Honors in Film Studies is the most comprehensive of the degrees. So that's 20 credits. That's a 4-year program. There's also the BA Combined Honors, which is a pretty popular choice among our students. And the idea is there you can combine a film studies degree with another program that you may be interested in. So it can be anything. One combination that we have a lot of in our program is students combining film studies with the communication and media studies program. But there's all sorts of possible combinations. There's really no limit on it. The next one is the BA in Film Studies, which is a 3-year program. That's 15 credits. You can also minor in film studies. So, you know, if you're not sure you want to commit to the full course, you can major in something else, but add a minor in film studies if you imagine that you might want to take a few film studies classes. And that's 4 credits. That's very doable. I also have on here, I know you're not yet thinking about a master's degree, but we do have a master's degree in film studies as well. And I bring that up because it's a big part of our program in terms of the culture of the program. We have graduate students, and those master's students often serve as the teaching assistants, especially in 1st and 2nd year courses, which are the larger courses. So you get to know the master's students, and sometimes those master's students were also our own undergrads, right, who then go on to get the MA. So they're a big part of the community, and they lend a lot of dynamism, I would say. Okay, so meet the faculty. I said that we're pretty tight-knit. There are 9 core faculty members and a fair number of contract instructors as well, who are experts in various parts of the Ottawa film industry and kind of film culture. So people who work in like the Canadian Film Institute, and people who work for local film festivals sometimes teach our classes as well. But here are the core faculty members. So you see I'm up there, and you see I've given people's names and a bit about what they specialize in. We've got Kester Dyer, whose focus is on Canadian cinema, Professor Mark Furstenau, who teaches the film theory course and courses on film and philosophy, Professor Malini Guha, who has a global cinema focus, especially in relation to migration and urban space, Professor Laura Horak, who teaches classes on film and gender and sexuality, Professor Gunnar Iversen, who is an expert in Scandinavian cinema and documentary film, Professor Catherine Morrow, who is an expert in East Asian cinema, and Professor Charles O'Brien, who studies sound in cinema and in film history, and Professor Abubakar Sanogo, who is an expert on African cinema and documentary cinema, and is also a very important global film curator and a very sought after expert on curating film festivals on African cinema. What kind of courses can you expect to take? So here I have a slide that just gives, a long list basically, and this isn't even the most comprehensive of lists, but it gives you a sample of the types of classes that over the past few years we have offered. The courses that you see in bold, in red at the top, those are the core classes. So if you do, for example, the BA honors, you will have to take all of those, and that's Intro to Film Studies in the first year. There is the Film Theory course, and that's 2 courses, so one in the fall, one in the winter. The History of World Cinema course, that's also 2 courses, one in the fall, one in the winter. And the Research and Critical Methodologies. So these are, you don't take these all at once, right? You work through them. It's really just Intro to Film Studies that you take in the first year. And then you, in the second year, do the Film Theory and Analysis and the History of World Cinema courses. Research and Critical Methodologies comes in the 4th year. And then in between, you take electives in film studies. So these other courses that I have listed here are an example of the types of electives that you might take in a normal film studies 4-year program. So you see things, it's in the electives, we really kind of narrow the focus into particular aspects of world cinema or into a particular genre of film, or a close study of a particular filmmaker's work, or thinking about film as it connects to broader social or political issues. So those are the kinds of things that kind of structure our electives. I also have on here, you see in red at the end, that we offer a practicum in film studies, and I have a slide for that as well. So the practicum program is available to students doing the BA honors, and you can take 1 course's worth of credit in your 4th year, that instead of actually taking a traditional course, you get placed in an Ottawa area film institution to get some work experience basically in the film and film related industries. So some examples here of the kinds of placements that we have: the Canadian Film Institute, the Digital Arts Resource Centre, Mercury Filmworks, which is one of the largest film production companies in Ottawa, the International Film Festival of Ottawa, the Ottawa International Animation Festival, the Inside Out LGBTQ Film Festival, and Library and Archives Canada. And Lily, fun fact, is actually doing a practicum placement with Library and Archives Canada right now, so she might mention that a bit when I throw it over to her. Okay, so I told you I would talk to you a bit about what you can do with a film degree, because I know this is a burning question for a lot of people. So the short answer is you can do anything. You can do anything you want with a film degree, because it's a Bachelor of Arts degree, right? It's really meant to be foundational training for all sorts of careers, right? It just makes you a well-rounded, interesting, knowledgeable person who can think and write and speak well. But a lot of people who go into film studies, I know, want some connection between their degree and the film or broader kind of media and arts related world. So here's an example of some of the types of career paths that our students have taken. Film production is a popular one. So after getting a degree in film studies, lots of our students move to Montreal or Vancouver or Toronto and break into those film industries, right? Actually getting into production. Another path is to do the accelerated media production program at Algonquin. So there is, you would get your requirements waived at Algonquin, your film studies requirements waived at Algonquin, and you can actually do hands-on film production courses there that teach you the things like, how to operate a camera, how to do lighting. Working in film festivals, like as I said, a lot of our students have gone directly into working at Ottawa film festivals, but also film festivals around the world. Working in archives and museums, right? There's film collections are housed in almost every major museum and archive, and those places need experts in film history and film preservation. Other arts organizations, film journalism. This is a path that many of our students have gone on to take, and that's to become film critics, right? To write for newspapers and other media outlets about film and film culture. Multimedia art in general. So this is everything from video games and becoming writers and other types of working in development for video games or other things like VR. There's all sorts of media production that comes up in other kind of related industries that are not necessarily about entertainment, but still need people who know how to communicate things visually and through moving images. Entertainment policy, right? Going into basically government jobs around entertainment policy. Entertainment law, right? Going to law school and using your film studies background to go into studying entertainment law. Business, just generally. Consulting and advocacy, as I said, advertising, or becoming a film professor like me. So that's just a sample. Events and field trips. This, I'm getting to a part of the presentation that makes me a little bit sad because we haven't been able to do these the last 2 years, of course, but we are really expecting that now that we're turning a corner with the pandemic, that these events and field trips will be back on next year. So an example of a really popular one that we've done for years is the trip to the Toronto International Film Festival. It's usually open to 3rd and 4th year students. And we coordinate a trip where we, book a block of hotel rooms. We get passes for the festival, and faculty go along with the students. And we usually have set up in the past master classes with filmmakers at the film festival for our students. So special events where you get to meet particular filmmakers or people who work in the industry and ask them questions and hear their perspective on their careers. We also have in the past had filmmakers come to Ottawa and meet with our students. So the Canadian Masters series, for example, is a really spectacular event that we've had in the past where we have important Canadian filmmakers, for example, Guy Madden, who comes, we screen several of their films, and they meet with our students and talk about their careers. Alanis Obomsawin is another example of a really important Indigenous documentary filmmaker who participated in the Canadian Masters series in the past. Film festivals. So this is just two examples of local Ottawa film festivals that our program are directly participating in and many of our students work in. So the African Film Festival and the Ottawa International Animation Festival. Really fun, interesting, globally important festivals that really lend a lot of richness and interest to the program and what we do. Okay, where can you get more information? Well, I'm going to show you some places online where you can go to get more information about the program, but also you can ask me and Lily while we're here your questions about the program. I want to also say that I will be in the film studies booth for until about 11:15 today. So after this presentation, I'll be moving over to the booth. And if you want to come and ask me a question there or just talk to me, please feel free. But where can you get more information online? Well, the Film Studies website has the most detailed information about the program. So you see there is a yellow box there around the URL. That's carleton.ca/film studies. If you go there, here on this yellow box, this menu on the side under undergraduate, you can learn all about, you can see what the courses we've been offering this past year are. You can read about those courses. You can learn about what the requirements of the program are. You can learn more about the practicum, grants and awards, all sorts of things. So that's really where you should, if you have, you want to learn more about what film studies is all about and what your courses might look like, that's the best place to go. You can also check us out on social media. Fun fact, Lily is also the social media coordinator for the film studies program. Lily wears many hats in this department. So she is the person who is tweeting and posting on Instagram on behalf of the department. So if you have questions about that, you can ask Lily, but check us out on Twitter and Instagram at MyCUFilm. And you can, look back over our posts and see kind of what's been going on in the department over the past year. And you can contact me directly. I just have my email address up here, aubrey.annable@carleton.ca. I am the Film Studies undergraduate supervisor in addition to being a professor. So that basically means I oversee anything academic related to the undergraduate program. So if you have questions about, more stuff about like career paths or the requirements and the types of courses that you might take, really anything, feel free just to get in touch with me, like send me an email and I'll do my best to answer your question. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And I'm going to throw it over to Lily. And I thought what I would do is just ask Lily to say something about what drew her to film studies. So Lily, why did you end up in film studies?
So I'm in my 4th year of film studies right now, and I didn't actually start in the program. I went into a computer science degree with a film studies minor, and what forced me into the program itself and to leave computer science was just like, I joined computer science because I didn't realize how many different job avenues there were with a film studies degree, so I thought I needed a backup plan. But doing the minor and realizing there was a program out there that I actually genuinely was very passionate about, it became too sad to be in a degree that wasn't film studies, and I ended up switching over because I love movies. I love telling stories. My favorite parts of the program are all theory-based, so I love Mark Firsteno and Malini Guha's classes because it's really analyzing how people have thought about films and how we change our opinions about films and different ways to analyze them and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why I'm here. And now I get to do a bunch of fun stuff. Like I'm in a practicum right now with Library and Archives Canada because I would really like to be working in preservation specifically, but also archiving is very fun because you just get to see so many different movies and TV shows and documentaries that you would have never considered ever would have like I watch ones where I'm like, I had no idea anyone would have ever made this. And now I know this whole new thing that I never would have considered. So yeah, it's very fun and a very good degree to be in. And again, everyone is very tight knit and I love all my professors. And there's a lot of other like opportunities. Like I'm in a Quebec cinema class right now and we're participating in this PCCQ film festival where we're watching all the movies and we're contributing to the voting. And one of the students from our class gets to actually go to Montreal and go to the film festival and represent our class in the voting board and discuss with other students who are also going to be voting and stuff.
That's really interesting. Can you say anything more about maybe other classes that you've taken? I know you already mentioned a few, but classes that maybe really convinced you to change your major or that have been really impactful?
Sure. So the first, I took the intro to film class and that was really fun. But the first class I took where I was like, oh, this is like very exciting and gave me a better, because the intro to film class is huge. There are tons of students. It's a little hard to feel like extra connected to the film program because everyone's taking it either just as an elective or for their minor. But after that, I took a East Asian cinema course, which was super interesting. And then I took a Japanese cinema course specifically, and like going down the niche kind of pathway to learn how many small classes you can take and how in depth you can get with the movies you're analyzing, pushed me over to joining. My two other favorite classes so far have been three. All the Canadian cinema classes, because learning about the Canadian film industry and the production and theory that goes on here, when there's kind of a conception that Canada doesn't exactly have a film industry or like their own film like corpus, I guess. And it's learning about all the different avenues of film that happen in Canada that you wouldn't have considered, like Quebecois film, obviously extremely, extremely big, Indigenous filmmaking, Inuit filmmaking, like all that sort of stuff. And then going along with that, I also have taken a screenwriting course, which was really exciting. And I also have taken the filmmaking courses, which lets you put what you're learning in your different theory and analyzing classes into practice, making your own short films, which is really fun.
Yeah, so maybe I'll take this moment to talk a bit about the production courses that we do have. So as I said, our program is not focused on production, meaning there are no required production courses that you have to take to get through the degree, but we do offer some as electives. So we have the moving image practice 1 and 2, where the focus of those courses are hands-on, producing a short video. You can only do so much in a semester, right? So we're not having you make feature films, but it's about learning how to use images and sound to tell stories. So those I think have been really popular with our students. We also have the screenwriting course, it's actually offered through the English department, but it is cross-listed with film studies. So it is a course designed to focus on the art of writing for the screen, right? Which is very different than writing for journalism or creative writing in general. So those classes, I just want to highlight those for people here who may really want to know what kinds of hands-on classes they can take. Okay, so with that, I think now I'm just going to ask if anyone has questions they want to throw into the chat, ask myself or Lily while we're here. Okay, I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, right. So you can put your questions. Jaleel is saying you can just use the chat function to put a question in. I'm gonna just kind of give it a moment to see if anyone would like to put a question in there. And as Jaleel is also saying, I will be in the film studies booth if you feel more comfortable heading over to the booth and asking me a question there, but I'm going to stick around and see if anyone has anything. Okay, I see a question now. Are there scholarships for I think you're asking, are there scholarships for international students? Is that the question? I don't know. There aren't any specifically that are administered through the film studies program. You would want to go to one of the main Carleton booths on AirMeet. I think specifically, maybe Jaleel can say which booth would have information about scholarships. Jaleel? Okay, I don't know. Jaleel's not answering.
Sorry, just had a little bit of a tech issue, but really great question about the scholarships. So scholarships at Carleton, you can get more information with the awards and financial aid department. So you can go into the booth section for awards. For this specific question about scholarships for foreign students, the answer is yes, we do. So there are entrance awards for international students. The link that I posted here in the chat can give you more information about that as well. The great question.
Great. Thank you.
Also, if you have any questions that you want to ask later about like student experience that would make more sense for me to answer for whatever reason, if you follow us on any of the social medias, then I'll be the one who answers any direct messages. Or my email is on the film studies website, I believe, under undergraduate supervisor, or sorry, undergraduate representative, because you're the supervisor.
You're practically the supervisor. You're doing all the roles. Yeah, so if I'm not seeing any other questions, but I'll give it another minute. Maybe Lily, just in the last few minutes, you can say a bit about what's been going on the Discord, because that's been a really important part of how film studies has maintained a community, I think, during COVID. So do you want to say a bit about that?
Sure, yeah. So once the pandemic hit, I made an unofficial Discord. So like there's no professors or anyone, so it's not like affiliated with Carleton, but it just has film students. Like we have some graduates, minors, majors, like even just if you like film and you're not actually in the film program, feel free to join. And we meet up to recently, now that the library has been open again. People have like met up to work on assignments, like not necessarily the same one, but to kind of have someone in your presence who's also grinding for a late night assignment. We sometimes do game nights or we watch movies together. And we have like channels for all the different courses so that you can discuss deadlines or what have you, or readings with other students. And we also have a creator channel for people to post anything they make. So we have people who are playing around even just on their phone and they're making YouTube videos. They share that. We have students like graduates who have gone into the Algonquin program and they have shared what they've made in their program, which has inspired other people in the Discord to go to Algonquin. We also have people work on like thesis and the MA program. So really you can just get a better experience with the like student body, and hopefully with things kind of lightening up, we'll be able to have more in-person events.
So Antonia is asking if the Discord channel is open for prospective students.
Sure. So even if you just like are into film, you can feel free to join the Discord. There's a link in all the different bios of the social media accounts. And yeah, you feel free to join. We would love to answer questions or just chat with you about film, even if you end up not going to Carleton or anything like that.
Right, and I'll put in the my CU film into the chat. That is where you can, again, follow us on Instagram or Twitter. So I think if you go there, you will find a link to the Discord. Is that correct, Lily?
Yeah, we have like a link tree in our bio. So if you open it, it will have a bunch of different links for different things like the website or current events. And then the Discord will also be there.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. I'm not seeing any. So I think what I'll do is say, if you do have a question, please just come see me in the booth. I will be moving over to the booth directly after this. So after this presentation shuts down, give me a few minutes to move over to the booth, but I'll be there, and I'll be there until 11:15 to talk to anyone who wants to talk more about film studies. But otherwise, I just want to thank you for attending and hope you will check us out on our website, on social media, and come and join us in film studies because we're great. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Annabelle. Thank you so much, Lily. And thanks all of you for joining in right now for the film studies. So you can definitely feel free to head out of this session and go into the booth until 11:15 with Professor Annabelle and learn more about the MyCU film on social media as well to stay in touch with us. So this is not the end of the conversation. The show must go on, and you can stay in touch with us there for the sequel. So with that, thank you again, everyone. We're just going to end the session right now, but please enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you at CU in the near future. Thank you.
Thanks, Jaleel. Thanks, Lily.